Good evening, everyone. My name is Haruka from Lighthouse. We'd like to begin the Japanese College Fair Spring 2021. From today until June 19th, we will be connecting Los Angeles and Japanese universities over 9 days. During the seminar, microphones and cameras of the participants will be turned off until the end of the briefing. Your faces and voices will not be broadcasted. The chat and the raise hand function will not be used today. If you have any questions for the universities, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. I'd like to introduce our very special guest tonight. With each introduction, please say a quick hello. From Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University, APU, Ms. Saori Yoshitomi.
Hello, everyone.
From Chukyo University, Dr. John Esposito.
Good evening or good morning, everyone. Hi.
And from Kyushu University School of Interdisciplinary Sciences and Innovation, Dr. Lawrence Johan and Dr. Bazina Yan.
Hello.
Now, without further ado, Ms. Saori Yoshitomi, please take it away.
Thank you very much. I'll share my screen. Okay, can you see the screen? Is everything okay? All right. Hello everyone. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. My name is Saori and I am an admissions counselor at Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University, APU for short. And today I will give you an overview of this university. And since our current student, Prakriti, is here with me today, is she there? Yes, she's there. Okay, so she will talk about her student life at APU. And then I will give you more information about scholarship and application process. Okay, so first of all, our location. We are located in Beppu City, south of Japan, called Beppu City, Oita Prefecture, on Kyushu Island, down south here. Beppu City is not a very big city, but because of that reason, cost of living is so much cheaper compared to cost of living in Tokyo, Osaka, those big cities, and a lot safer. And even if we are small to mid-sized city in Japan, we are a very famous tourist destination because of the second highest volume of hot spring water in the world. It's actually #1 in Japan. And we became even more famous because of the Hachiman Kamado Shrine from Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, if you know the anime. And this is our campus. So we are located on top of the mountain like this. So you can see the ocean, Beppu Bay, Beppu City, and mountains. It's a very, very beautiful location. And left here, this is called AP House. This is on-campus housing. So from here to classrooms, it's just about 10 minutes walk. So very convenient to live in. And the good news is that the rooms are available, guaranteed for all first-year international students. So you don't have to worry anything about your accommodation before coming to Japan. And these numbers here, these are what makes us really unique and different from other universities in Japan. So right now we have about 5,600 students in total, and about half of the students are international students coming from 92 different countries and regions. International students, it does not mean exchange students. So they will be here for 4 years. Just like other Japanese students. And not only our students, but our faculty members are also about 50% international and 50% Japanese. So what great about having this environment is that since we have a lot of group discussions and group works, You get to hear opinions of students from different countries, different cultural backgrounds, and you can exchange ideas, get new ideas, and learn from each other. So that makes us really unique and different from other universities in Japan. And these are what you can study at APU. So we have two colleges, one College of International Management, obviously business, and College of Asia Pacific Studies, which is social sciences. And under each college, we have four majors. So let's go back to College of International Management. We have four majors: accounting and finance, economics and innovation, marketing, strategic management, and organization. And for College of International Management, we have AACSB accreditation. And for the College of Asia Pacific Studies, again, we have four majors: culture, society and media, environment and development, hospitality and tourism, international relations and peace studies. And for this college, we have certification TEDCO, which is for tourism education. So now I often get a question from students, do I need to know Japanese? So the answer is no, you don't need to know any Japanese to come to us. So I will talk about application process later on, but all you can apply entirely in English and take all these classes in English as well. So more than 90% of our classes are offered both in English and Japanese. So you can take all these classes in English and study Japanese language at the same time. So Japanese language classes are actually compulsory in your first year. So you don't have to pay any extra fees to study Japanese language. It's part of your curriculum. So when you come to APU, you will be studying Japanese language up to intermediate level. And advanced level Japanese is not compulsory, but if you want to, you can take that as well. And or if you are interested, if you want, and if you are comfortable taking classes in Japanese, you can take all these classes in Japanese as well. So in your first year, you will be taking a lot of Japanese language classes, as well as introduction classes to your preferred areas of study. And maybe in your second year or third year, you will be choosing a major area of study. Yes. Okay, student life. So Prakriti, are you ready? So she will, sorry. So she will talk about her student life at APU.
All right, thank you, Sari-san. Very warm good morning, everybody. Well, good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are. I am Prakriti Bashal. I am from Nepal, and I am fourth year student in Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University. I am majoring in international relations and peace studies, so I'm under APS. I'm currently located in Beppu, the same city where Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University is located. It is very lovely and bright weather here today and this morning. So when I was asked to talk about my student life here in APU, I struggle a little bit to choose my most memorable one, my most preferred one, because there are many good memories made here as a student, and I'm still in this path of making more before I graduate. However, today I will talk about some of my student life, basically under three different categories. One is the academic life, and the other is the extracurricular activities, and also the multicultural experience here in APU. So, as mentioned earlier, that I'm student of international relations and peace studies, so which allowed me to take classes um, under this course from different professors. As Saudi-san mentioned before, that there are professors from different countries, so you really get to know about the course from a different perspective, different ideology, and which is very interesting. And at the same time, you also get to attend different kind of seminar where professors usually present about their research. And likewise, you also get to have your own seminar. And I'm currently writing thesis under the supervision of my professor. And I also got a chance to present about my thesis topic in AP conference, which is the conference organized by Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University, and many more interesting thing. And one of the really exciting thing about APU is its language classes actually. So you start taking Japanese classes from your first semester if you do not have any prior learning on the language itself. Because personally, me before coming to APU, I did not learn the language, so I was very new. And for 2 years, I learned Japanese language along with my other classes, and later other 1.5 year, I also got opportunity to enroll into Spanish language class, so which further allowed me to kind of broaden my understanding in different languages. So that was a bit about my academic life, and more talking about the extracurricular activities, which is really, really interesting in APU because I know everybody is interested in different kind of activities. The good thing is like you have the liberty to participate in any kind of activities here, and at the same time also create the club and circles that you want if there is non-existing club of your interest. So you also get to create your own along with your friends. A really interesting thing again is the multicultural week in APU, where um, each like each community of like particular country would present about their cultures, about their food, and it's kind of a week-long activity where you get even the like the student from the other countries get to participate. And I also got the opportunities to participate in a lot of weeks here in APU, and also myself was able to organize Nepali week here in APU. And then after that, I was also a member of Samisen Club. So if you might not know what Samisen here is, I'm gonna quickly share my screen here. Okay. Seems like I am not able to share my screen. Okay, can you all see my screen? Okay, great. So this is one of the circle that I was very active throughout my student life, and this is a Japanese musical instrument. It is a really traditional musical instrument of Japan. So I get the opportunity to perform along with my friends and other local Japanese artists in a lot of different kinds of events based in Oita and Beppu, and also in different kind of temples around in Japan. So which was a really unique experience for me. And so moving on, as I mentioned earlier, that you kind of have a liberty to choose different kind of activities that you want to get involved into. So I was also part of creating my own independent volunteering platform along with my friends, and then me and my friends we traveled to Indonesia, we traveled to Nepal to help the underprivileged student. And the great thing was like we received a huge amount of support from university who helped us promote our program, and also at the same time helped us in more like refining the education module that we were taking to those programs. And also there are different kind of competitions here in APU. If you're interested in business case competition, then APU is very well known for its business case competition, and the students from different universities around Japan come here and participate. And likewise, the whole prize here in APU is also quite famous. And likewise, me and my friend here got chance to represent APU in Vietnam, and we were we were selected from APU, and this was the whole prize in 2020. So the topic was very much related with the environment and business. So you are just not learning about the all the academic related stuff inside the class, but also outside the class with different kind of activities. So this was one of them for me. Yep. So nextly, talking about a lot of multicultural experiences here. The classes here in APU are very diverse, as mentioned earlier by Saudi-san here, that the professors from different country, and at the same time, group work is highly motivated here in APU. And while you do so in your group, there are a lot of students from different kind of from different countries, so which really means that you will get to know about your like country, and then you'll also get to know about what is it like to think from someone else's shoe and everything. So likewise, there are a lot of different interesting classes here in APU which helps you to know about the Japanese cultures. I know a lot of you here could be very much interested in knowing about the Japanese culture, and a lot of my friends before coming to Japan knew more about Japan on the basis of anime and all. But then here in APU, you get to get a live experience of what is it like to be in Japan. And because the city itself, like the Biku city, is really, really kind and warming to the international students, and you get a lot of chances to interact with the local people here. And talking about the classes in APU which allow you to know about Japanese cultures are like flower arrangement class, where you get to learn about what is it like to arrange flowers in a Japanese way, knowing more like the Japanese philosophy at the same time. And then is also about the tea ceremony, like the Japanese art of drinking tea, and which is a completely different experience for most of us. And then also window to knowing about more about Japanese culture. And yes, so a part of that, your life here will be really fun filled, because you'll be making friends from different countries. And in your first year, you will be living in dorm, which is which we call AP house, and you'll be living along with a lot of other friends from different countries. And so which becomes more interesting as you get a chance to always go and knock at your friend's door and talk about a lot of stuff that you are interested in, and at the same time have like gohankai, we call it gohankai, to the like a dinner party and everything, like when you all eat together. So that is a really big culture of APU student gathering together and having fun together, sharing each other's food, like cooking for each other, and which you get to experience a lot when you live in the AP house. So yeah, I think that kind of wraps up my experience here in APU. And yeah, thank you so much everyone for coming today.
Thank you. Okay, I'll share my screen again. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So I'll talk about after graduation before I move on to scholarship and application process. Okay, so after graduation, we have 96% of job placement rate, which is really high. And this number, 96%, is actually before graduation. That means 96% of our students get a job offer before they even graduate from university. And a great thing about APU is that we have on-campus recruiting. That is about 200 companies, or more than 200 companies, actually come to APU to recruit our students. And they give you info sessions, and they even do first few job interviews on campus, so that our students don't have to travel around so much. So very easy for our students. And also we have career office that will support you. And we even have a class like Career Japanese, and they will help you how to teach you how to write a resume in Japanese, and will give you some tips for job interviews as well. So you will have a lot of support from us. And here you can see employers and graduate schools examples, but only a few. So if you are interested, please visit our website so you can get more information. You can see more examples. And we do have scholarship opportunities available. But before I talk about scholarship, let's say the tuition fee. So for tuition fee at APU, first year is about 12,000 US dollars, and second year to fourth year, it's about 14,000 US dollars per year, which is, I think it's cheaper than private universities in the US, but it could be a lot cheaper if you receive scholarship. In tuition reduction scholarship, which is from 30% up to 100%, it reduces your tuition fee amount. So for example, if you receive a 50% tuition reduction scholarship, you pay half the amount of what you're seeing now for 4 years, because it is valid for 4 years. So that means you don't have to reapply again and again in your second year, third year, fourth year to receive this scholarship. It's once you receive that, it's valid for 4 years at APU. And to apply for this scholarship, the process is really simple. So you can apply with APU application. Within your application form, there's a question asking you, do you wish to apply for APU tuition reduction scholarship? All you have to do is tick a box, yes, that's all. So very simple. And you can receive the results, tuition reduction scholarship results with admission results. So you know how much you will be paying in advance. And there are many other external scholarships available as well. But usually it is available from second year because in most cases, interviews are in Japanese and you need to write application form in Japanese. So usually external scholarships are available from second year. But these information are on our website as well. So if you want to see what kind of external scholarships are available at APU, please visit our website later on. And application requirements, there are 2 requirements, but I believe most of you live in the US and you are a native speaker of English. So in your case, please don't worry about English language proficiency. So the only requirements for you would be 12 years of standard education. If you are not a native speaker of English, please submit one of these English language proficiency scores. If you have 2, please submit both so we can check which one's better. Yes, and SAT is not required. So if you have SAT, please submit that so we can take that into account. But if you don't have SAT, that's fine because it is not an requirement. In the application process, it is again very simple. You can apply entirely and online, and you can upload all your documents online, so you don't have to submit any documents by post at the time of application. So online application and application fee is 5,500 Japanese yen, which is about 50 US dollars. And after you are done with your online application, you will be doing online assessment, which is like logic tests, simple math, and like test your critical thinking. So we will be using Watson, Glaser, and core abilities. So if you're not too sure what Watson, Glaser, and core abilities are, please Google them so you can get the sample questions. And if you applied for APU tuition reduction scholarship, you will have stage 2, which is online interview for 20 to 30 minutes. And we have April enrollment and September enrollment. And as I haven't mentioned that we second year transfer and third year transfer are available as well. Personally, I recommend second year transfer rather than third year transfer. If you are in college already and would like to study with us. But the reason why I recommend second year transfer is that, especially if you want to get a job in Japan, the job, what we call job hunting, will start in your third year, usually. And it is better to know some Japanese. So if you come as a third year transfer student, you will be extremely busy. So if you are thinking of transfer, I recommend, of course it is up to you, but I recommend second year transfer. And for first year students and second year transfer students, these are the schedule for the application period. So I think most of you will be looking at September enrollment. So September enrollment 2022 starts on September 1st this year. And first deadline is 6 October. And you will get the stage 1 result on 21st of October. And then after the online interview, you will receive the final result together with your tuition reduction scholarship result on 22nd November. If you miss this first deadline, please don't worry, it's rolling applications. So right next day, the second period starts. And the final deadline is March 23rd next year. For third year transfer students, this is your schedule. So for September 2022 enrollment, application period starts on November 1st, and final application deadline is March 2nd. Right. Now, if you visit our website, admissions.apu.ac.jp, you can download application handbook so you can get more information in details. Just be careful with the color of the application handbook, because we have 2 application handbooks on our website. One is for students residing outside Japan and one for residing in Japan. So if you don't live in Japan and applying from outside Japan, please download this red color application handbook. And now, all the information I gave you right now is for any students with any nationality. But if you have Japanese nationality, including dual citizenship and permanent residency, please visit apumate.net, because application process and scholarship information, these are different for students with Japanese nationality and permanent resident status. Since we have a little bit of time, I'll show you the website. Okay. So if you don't have any Japanese nationality, if you are international students, please visit admissions.apu.ac.jp, and you can download all the materials from here, downloads, and you can join our webinars from here, and you can start your application from here. Apply now /login. If you go down, sorry, it's only 2021 available right now, but 2022 will appear here soon. So you can sign up to start your application from here. And if you have Japanese nationality and including dual citizenship and permanent resident status, please visit apumate.net, click English, and then you can apply from here. Or if you want to know more about application process and scholarship information, please download the application handbook from here, application materials. Here's the application handbook, right? Okay. So Okay, we have our social media content, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube as well. There are actually nice pictures there, so please check these out. And if you have any questions later on, please feel free to send me messages at any time. Okay, I think it's now time for us to move on to Q&A. And thank you very much for sending us questions. I think there are some questions for you, Prakriti. I think I saw that. Oh, you already answered. Okay. How accessible is the campus? Also, could a student join any club they are interested in, even if they used mobility aids? Well, it is very accessible because we have on-campus accommodation housing, AP House, which is just 10 minutes away from our classrooms. And also, Prakriti, would you like to add something for this question?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So, yes, the campus is quite accessible considering there are a bus that is just uniquely available for the campus. And with the student with the mobility aids, in AP House, there are different kind of rooms available, which is really accessible to you and going anywhere around the campus. It's really mobility aid friendly area. So I am definite that you won't have any problem with that.
And sorry, did you about the club activities as well?
Yeah, sure. So there was a question about if club and activities perform together. Yes, they do quite often. Well, few clubs kind of also merge together and they held an event on campus or even outside the campus. Likewise, APU itself organized different festivals, and one of them we call it Thinkusai Festival, where clubs and circles of almost all the clubs and circle actually participate there and perform together. And there are also another kind of event that is uniquely just held for the traditional Japanese art, like especially music and dance, of which are a lot of circles here in APU.
Okay, thank you. And what transportation is there between campus and the city?
Okay, so between city and on campus, it's the bus. And as I mentioned earlier, there are just specific bus that is just bound to APU. And at the same time, a lot of students seem to have their own bike and they come on campus with their bike, which is not really common considering the campus is really on top of the mountain. But the bus schedule are really flexible, so it's quite convenient.
There's a question asking, what's your art program like? So sorry, we do not have art program. It's we have College of International Management, which is for business, and College of Asia Pacific Studies, which is for social sciences. And if the country we got our high school degree has only 11 years of standard education, is it possible to still apply? So this is a difficult question to answer because it depends on which country you are from and which country you live in now or got the education. So there are some countries like Myanmar, Russia, and some other countries that we accept students even if they only have 11 years of standard education. So in your case, please send me a message later on so I can give you a specific answer. Could you please remind us the level of English required at APU? So I will share the screen again. this is the minimum English language proficiency score. So of course, if you have higher scores, that's better. Higher the better. Right. Okay, so we only have 5 more minutes to go. A little bit of problem seeing the questions. Okay, I often get a question like, is it an advantage to know some Japanese language? The answer is yes. If you know some Japanese language, it's an advantage for you, especially when you are at APU. And if you have scores like JLPT or EJU, please submit that so we can take that into account. And if you come to APU, usually, students have to take a placement test. So if you know some Japanese already, you might be able to skip some foundation level Japanese. So you can take advanced level Japanese earlier than other students, and you can choose other classes instead of Japanese language classes. But if you don't know any Japanese, please don't worry about that. But Prakriti, you didn't know any Japanese before coming to APU, isn't it?
Yes, I think a lot of APU students don't know about the Japanese before coming to APU.
Yeah. So majority of our international students don't come to APU with 0 Japanese. So even if you don't know any Japanese, please don't worry about that. And where are the Watson glasses sample questions? So you have to Google them. Please Google Watson Glaser core abilities, Google, internet. And then if you go to their website, they show sample questions for free. So quite easy to access that, to find that. So please check Watson Glaser and core abilities before you take online assessment. Do you have a number of WhatsApp? I'm sorry, I don't. So please send me a message to SAORI, salary, SAORI-Y at apu.ac.jp.
There's actually a question about scholarship.
Oh, that's
Sure.
please answer that if you could.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, it mentioned about 80% and we cannot cover the rest. Do you recommend any type of aid to which we can apply? Well, international student in their first year or even for the first semester, they can get some kind of aid from Japan, like Japan's government, which is called JASO. And so you can actually apply to that. And even after enrollment to APU, there are several kind of scholarship that you can apply, and which depends on your academic activities and also the extracurricular activities.
Thank you. And seeing how much does living on campus cost? Do scholarships cover the some cost of living in Japan? So for the campus, living on campus cost, that is 49,000 Japanese yen per month, including everything except food. So water, gas, electricity, Wi-Fi, it's all covered. And scholarships cover the same costs of living in Japan. Prakriti just mentioned about JASO scholarship. So that will cover some cost of living in Japan. Okay, I think it's time for us to wrap up. So yeah, thank you very much for listening to our presentation today. I just want to mention that there are so many opportunities and chances available at APU. So we look forward to seeing you on campus. Thank you.
Thank you very much both for that wonderful and such an insightful presentation. Moving on, we have Dr. John Esposito from Chukyo University. Please take it away.
Well, good morning, everyone. And I'm here to talk about our new program here at our university, Chukyo University in Nagoya. And let me just give me a minute to get it up on the screen for you, my PowerPoint. All right, everyone can see it, I hope, hopefully. Okay, so we are located in Nagoya. We have two campuses, actually, here in Aichi Prefecture. I'd like to talk about both of the campuses with you. But first, let me talk a little bit about Nagoya. If you're not familiar with Nagoya City, Nagoya is the fourth largest city in Japan. And we're located about halfway between Tokyo and Osaka, two cities you might already be familiar with. It's approximately an hour by the Shinkansen train, and we are the fourth largest. Nagoya is the fourth largest city in Japan. I know that many of you may think of Japanese cities as very crowded, but actually Nagoya is not that crowded at all. You can easily get on a subway or travel around and not have to deal with many crowds as is the case in cities like Tokyo and Osaka. So you have the proximity to those two major Japanese cities. And we're also close, of course, to Kyoto and Nara, the ancient capital of Japan, also just about an hour ride from here. And although our program is new, this is only our second year, the university is not. And I want to talk a little bit about Chukyo University. And I want to also introduce you to our program. And I'd like to talk about the curriculum with you. And then I'll end up by talking about the application process. So that's what I'd like to discuss with you today. And it looks like the technical issues have been resolved. Okay, yeah, there's you've got Nagoya up there now, and actually I did want to talk about our two campuses. Aichi is the prefecture that we're located in, and we have two campuses. The campus that you'll be studying at is the main campus, or the Nagoya campus, and I'll show you some pictures of the campus just in a minute. So you can see there's also the Toyota campus, and the Toyota campus is approximately about 20 minutes by train from here. As a student of Chukyo University, you have access to both campuses. Now, why would you want to go to the other campus? The other campus has all of our most of our sports facilities are out there. So if you're interested in sports, we have our facilities in Toyota. And in fact, one of our students this year, who is a member of our ice hockey team, he practices on the Toyota campus, but takes the classes here in Nagoya. Now, so to continue, the Nagoya campus is again the main campus. So as you can see, for a city campus, it's we're surrounded by a park. There's the park there that you see in the middle. The campus kind of encircles the park, which you'll have easy access to. In fact, You can even connect between buildings through the park. All of the buildings on the Nagoya campus are interconnected. So you're able to walk between buildings without going outdoors if necessary, in inclement weather, for example. You see in the background there's a track and some tennis courts. We do have physical education facilities as well on this campus. So if you're interested, again, in personal training or joining with one of the sports-related clubs, then you can participate on the Nagoya campus as well as the Toyota campus. Now, here in the Nagoya campus, as you can see on your screen, we have different schools here: the School of Law, Policy Studies, Economics, School of Management, School of Engineering, which is a relatively new school, and our school, the school that I'll be talking about today, the School of Global Studies, which is our newest school. This is just our second year. The Department of Global Liberal Studies, is the department that I'll be speaking about specifically with you in a few minutes. I'll give you more information on that. Now here, you've got a kind of overview of the atrium. This is here in the Nagoya campus as well. I'll give you a different shot here. Again, this is all, the buildings, again, as you can see, are all connected via an atrium. Students are able to meet in these areas as well as congregate there. Now, this is a shot of the library, and this is one of the theaters that we have on campus, where we have conferences as well as performances. Here is a gathering space for the students. There are many study areas located on campus for both general study areas as well as those that are reserved for specific departments. Each department has its own computer rooms as well as study areas. And then there are general computer rooms and study areas as well in the library and throughout the campus, where you can meet with your fellow students. This is one of the cafeterias on campus. Just to kind of give you a feel of it. Now, I spoke before a little bit about the Toyota campus. As you can see, it's a lot bigger, and you could see the sports fields, the baseball field, the soccer field, tennis courts. There's the ice skating, the rink, the ice rink, etc. We do offer sports as a major here, and we are the motto of our school is a focus on learning and sports. So for those of you who are interested in sports, then you'll have opportunities to interact with students that are majoring in the sports, health and sports sciences. As you can see, these are the Toyota campus majors. We do have an engineering department as well, and a sociology department based in Toyota. And this is a picture of our rural Toyota campus. This is also from the Toyota campus, one of the buildings there. Another shot of the Toyota campus for you. Okay, just to give you a feel for that. So we've got, you kind of get the best of both worlds if you come to Chukyo. You've got the access to the city and the interconnected, we have the public transportation system here. The subway system connects you very easily to other parts of the prefecture, as well as the neighboring major cities that I mentioned earlier, such as Tokyo and Osaka, if you want to attend events there or go to different festivals or shows or whatnot, you're within an hour of those major cities. And of course, if you're interested in Japanese history and Japanese culture, Kyoto and Nara, the two former capitals of Japan, are also within an hour from here by train. And then of course there's the Toyota campus, which gives you a little bit more of the open space feel, as well as the sports facilities. There's the ice rink that you would have access to as a student here. And this is the karate, judo, rather, the judo class. We do have karate as well. All of the major Japanese sports, such as karate and judo, kendo, etc., you could study here, as well as just about any of the major Western sports as well. As I mentioned earlier, one of our current students is playing with our ice hockey team. And we have American football, soccer, tennis, badminton, just about all of the sports that you can think of. We have a strong emphasis on sports here, and all of those facilities and clubs you would certainly have access to. Now, I mentioned earlier that we're not a new university, even though we are a new department. The university itself was established in 1956. However, we're part of a larger education establishment, including a high school and junior high school, which actually began almost 100 years ago. So we have a long history here in Nagoya. As you can see on your screen, we have the 10 undergraduate schools, approximately 12,000 students combined on the two campuses. And I did also mention earlier our focus on learning and sports, and we do try to strike a balance here between the two. So there are a lot of there's a lot of how can I say, interaction between them. So for example, we have a university bus that connects both campuses. So if you were participating in a sports club or sports practice in the morning at the Toyota campus, you can easily take your classes later in the day on the Nagoya campus, just using our bus, which would take you directly from the Toyota campus to Nagoya, and of course in the opposite direction as well. That is not a problem at all. Now, we do have a long history of having some of our former students who you may be familiar with, who have participated in Olympic events and have won various medals. You can see their names and accomplishments on the screen in front of you. And by the way, these former students are still, they still stay connected to Chukyo. They still stay connected to Chukyo University. They often participate in school events with us and frequent our campus. We see them around from time to time. It's nice to maintain those connections with our former students here. But now I want to talk about the Department of Global Liberal Studies and our major, what it is, how it is different from both the other majors in our school, as well as it might be different from other schools that you might be thinking about studying at here in Japan. First of all, the GLS major, Global Liberal Studies major, has been designed for students who have English as their first or second language. Now, if it's your first language, which I'm assuming it would be the case for many of you listening here today, then you don't need to worry about taking any placement test or anything like that. If it's your second language, then I will give you the information shortly in regards to the level, that the minimum level of accomplishment that you'll need to demonstrate to us if you're interested in applying. All of the classes in the department are taught in English, period. Now you're going to also need to take Japanese as a minor. In fact, that's out of the 140 credits in our 4-year program, 40 credits are for Japanese, okay, the Japanese language. For that, you will take a placement test, and that is an important component of our program. So it's a minor. You can consider it your minor. You cannot choose a minor in a different foreign language, even though we do offer them. Those other minors, those other foreign languages are reserved for the native Japanese speakers that are in our school. So if you see those other minors there, now you can take those as elective classes, but it would not be an official minor. They're certainly open to you. So we do offer, for example, foreign languages, foreign language studies in Chinese, German, Spanish, French, Korean, Vietnamese, and Italian. All of those classes are certainly available to you, but again, that's not going to be your focus. You would be just doing that as an elective, as additional classes that you'd be doing on your own. You can, there is a variety of classes, and they're all focused essentially on the humanities and social sciences. That's our focus in our school here. Let me give you, let me go into some of the details of the classes with you, just to give you a kind of overview of our classes. Now, in the center of the screen there, those are our core classes, the 3 classes that you see: Ancient Civilizations, Critical Thought and Expression, and Intellectual Traditions. Okay, those are required classes. You'll take them in your first year. You also need to take an introductory seminar in academic skills. Basically, this seminar is to assist you with both writing and research skills, and how to be essentially a successful student while you're studying with us. Also, you'll take a class in career design. This is going to help you with your focus on what you're going to do after you graduate. All of those classes there are taken in the first year. I think there should be pretty much a self-explanatory. The intellectual traditions class may not be that class. There's a focus on both the Western and Eastern traditions in intellectual inquiry. So you'll be studying things like philosophy and religion, and from both a historical as well as contemporary perspective. In the critical thought and expression class, you'll learn critical thinking skills, a very important part of our program here, especially focusing on culture and media. And in Ancient Civilizations, the focus there is taking from the past, learning from the past in order to understand the present and relate it to our lives today. Now, just kind of going around there, you see the other classes that are on offer. I'll go through them briefly with you. The Global Culture and Ideology class is a class you'll take in your second year. This class meets twice a week. Focuses on various ideological systems in the world. The Global Governance and Society class is also a class you'll be taking in your second year, also meets twice a week. Then the same with the Global Environment and then Global Economy classes. They are also meet twice a week in the third year. They're open to you in your third year. And that is also when you will start to take your seminar classes. Now, before I talk about the seminar classes, I should also mention a few other classes that you'll be taking earlier in your program. Actually, in your second year, I'm sorry, in the first year, Global Peace and Security and 21st Century Cities are two classes that you'll be taking in the fall semester. The International Academic Relations is also on offer in the first year, as well as Global Media and Culture. And then I mentioned the other classes for the second year. Third year, you'll start your seminars. You have a choice as to contemporary global issues or society, language, and globalization. And they are connected to the other seminars. They are ethical inquiry and intercultural communication today. You'll choose between them in your third year, because these seminars will be the basis for your graduation thesis that you'll be working on in the final year before graduating. Okay, so that's a kind of brief overview of our curriculum. As you can see, the focus is on taking a global perspective or an international perspective on various topics. If I had to summarize or characterize our program in a single word, the word I would use is interdisciplinary. Okay, this is an interdisciplinary program. It's for those of you who want to look at the world from different perspectives and study topics from an interdisciplinary and a multicultural perspective as well. Now, the multicultural perspective comes not only from the curriculum, but also from our students. Although we're a new program, we do have students currently from 9 different countries in our classes. Our classes are quite small. They range in size from 6 to 12 students. So there's a lot there. In addition to group work, there's a lot of one-on-one with the professors. They're basically seminar-style classes. And we intend to keep them at a small level. We're going to, this is a relatively small program, a niche, let's say a niche program within the larger department, which I'll be speaking more about in a few minutes, okay? So that's a brief overview of the department. Some highlights of it or main points are the following. You can take classes, many classes outside of our department that are taught in English. Now, if your Japanese skills are good enough, if you reach a high enough level in your Japanese skills, say by the 3rd or 4th year, you can also take elective classes in Japanese. Those are also open to you as well. So as I mentioned earlier, our focus on language education, we do have 7 other foreign languages that we offer in our department that are also open to you, again, as electives. Your primary foreign language is going to be Japanese, which you need to take a minimum of 40 credits in order to graduate. So it's quite intensive right from the beginning. And the goal is to have your Japanese language proficiency at a level when you graduate here, at a level that you will be able to easily become part of Japanese society if you choose to do so in terms of work or in terms of graduate studies, okay? And the graduation research, which I also mentioned earlier, is connected to your seminar. And what we try to do with the graduation research is to connect your research with your job plans, your future goals, your primary interests, and we work one-on-one with our students in designing both their graduation research as well as helping them with their future plans. And we have a center on campus that's also open to you that will also assist you with those things. Now, just to give you a taste here, a little bit of a menu of some of the other classes that are taught in English that you can choose from. Now, as I mentioned before, the program, the core of the program, and our focus is essentially a humanities, social science approach to our classes. However, as you can see from the classes on the screen there, you can take elective courses in our business department. You could take classes in management, international politics, foreign policy, economics, business, global business, and even in film and popular culture. All of these classes, and this is not, this list is not inclusive. There are other classes that are available to you that you can take, again, in English, taught only in English, where you'll be, these are mixed classes. These are essentially classes that are open to students from any department across the campus that you'll be mixing with. And again, you also are able to, if you achieve a certain level of proficiency in Japanese, you are welcome to take elective classes in Japanese as well. Again, this would be ideally a third and fourth year, in the third and fourth year of the program. So let's see now, moving on here. We'll move next to talk about the tuition for students here who do not have a student visa. This is kind of like the base tuition fee. Most of you, of course, will have a student visa, unless there are cases where students are here, perhaps living with family, extended family, or for other reasons, so they may not have one. But if you're applying and you have a student visa, then there is a 30% discount or scholarship, if you will, that everyone can make use of. Okay, and these are the admission fees, as well as just a moment here. Sorry, this is not my computer, and I'm not, I really wish it was. I don't have a, I'm learning this new computer for the first time this morning with you as I'm talking to you, so I apologize for some of the problems I'm having with the screens. Thank you. In any event, you've got the fees there in front of you, and it's just as well, because to give you a chance to take a look at it. So the admissions fee is 200,000 yen. And which is approximately 200 US dollars. And the facilities fees, miscellaneous expenses, as well as well, that's the total there on the right. And this is paid at the time of admission. Okay. So this is the standard fee for everyone. We don't, we don't offer any other scholarships at present. But again, just an automatic 30% reduction if you have a student visa. And this applies to all 4 years of the program, not just the first, all 4 years. Okay. Now, in terms of the admission process and our schedule for this coming year, we're going to take our first round of applications in the fall. As you can see, the application period is from September 27th to October 11th. And we'll do an initial screening on October 24th. And then our second round of applications is going to be in February. Rather in January, I'm sorry, with screening in February, and this is both of these applications are for entering our program in April. This is April, and April 1st is when our school year starts here in Japan, as well as our program. Okay, now in terms of how we're going to evaluate you, simply you'll be doing an English essay. You'll have 60 minutes to do so, as well as an interview in English, and both of these will be done online initially. We'll give you more details about that after you apply. But this is the criteria we'll be using to evaluate you for your eligibility. So talking in a little bit more detail about this eligibility for application, you have you need to have a nationality other than Japanese. Now, if you are a Japanese national currently living in the United States and are interested in our program, then you have to apply via different means, and all that information is on our website. So you'll need to check that there. This presentation does not apply to you. As you can see, you also must have completed 12 years of primary and secondary levels of education in your resident country. Now, I know previously there was a question about having an 11, if your country has an 11-year secondary program, if you have a graduate certificate from your high school, then that's fine. So the number of years would not be an issue. Now, in terms of your English ability, I mentioned it before. If you're not a native speaker of English, this applies to you. You must have at least a level B2 or higher on the CEFR, the Common European Framework of References for Language. That standard must be met or an equivalent, and we'll look at those in a minute, okay? The other thing you must know is you must be fully capable of supporting yourself financially from the time of your enrollment through graduation in order to be accepted into the program, and you'll need to demonstrate that before you are accepted. Now, talking about the English language proficiency, if you're a non-native speaker of English, this applies to you. There's the B2 CEFR. These are its equivalents in terms of the Cambridge English qualifications, as well as the other major tests that are offered for non-native speakers of English. And I'm needing to wrap up here, so I'll just briefly, as you can see there, you can go to our website and you can just click on there, and that will take you through the admissions process, okay? And also how to apply for the entrance exam and fill out the application form. Okay, well, just wrapping up there. Thank you all for your attention, and I want to apologize again for the technical difficulties at the beginning of our presentation. I guess I should
Thank you, Dr.
open it
Esposito.
up to questions and answers now.
Yeah, thank you very much. And students and parents, if you have any questions, feel free to throw those questions into the Q&A. Dr. Esposito can still answer some of the questions directly. And before we move on, there is a quick announcement. So Lighthouse would like to present japan-universities.com. This is a wonderful place to get a lot of the information regarding Japanese universities, and information regarding applications, and more specific, really titillating questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to scan this QR code right below here. And I highly encourage you to visit the site. I'll leave this up for a few seconds. Alrighty, just 10 more seconds. Alrighty, let's get back to the presentation. Next, I'd like to introduce from Kyushu University School of Interdisciplinary Science and Innovation, Dr. Lawrence Johan and Dr. Bazina Ian.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to the presentation of the School of Interdisciplinary Science and Innovation. My name is Jan and I will guide you through the first half of our presentation. But first, let me show you some short video that we have made for this occasion.
For the Kyushu project, I'm pretty interested in how people think, and so I think it came from facing that wall that I came across when I first got here. I'm very interested in knowing how different people think and why they think that way. For example, you could give the same picture to someone and they could see two completely different images. And why they register that way or why they feel certain emotions towards that is what I'm interested in right now.
And we have tutor, it's 4 or 5 students. Like my teacher is so kind, and she's not the teacher of gender studies, but when I talked about gender issues to her, she introduced one professor of gender studies to me, and I can talk with her and I can get a lot of advice from her. So this is so amazing.
Recently, I'm interested in education in Japan, like how the curriculum in Japan and how they separate like Rike, Bunke, or like how they have to choose a major even before they come into school. And like that's also why I really like Kyushu, because they don't really have to choose a major when they come in. They can like discover themselves throughout college, and I think that's what college is supposed to be. So that's also what I like about Kyushu.
I'm interested in public health as a interdisciplinary study. I decided to choose econometrics as major, as well as data science and health economics as minor. In ISI, I deepened my understanding of public health problems.
The Japanese Kyushu students are really warm to us. They really, for me, because I don't, my fluency in Japanese is not really that high. They considerate that when speaking to me. They try to speak in English. They're really open about having friendships with the international people.
In our school, we do not focus on specialized training. We want our students to have broad minds that can tackle the nowadays difficult and complex problems. For example, if you want to deal with the global warming or excessive garbage, you cannot simply look at it from the point of view of an ecologist or an engineer or a politician. You really need someone who's gonna take all the different views together and create a real solution for a real problem. If you like what you heard, we will be happy to welcome you with us from the next year. Thank you. All right, so I hope that you have enjoyed our short video. For sure I did. I just realized I'm wearing the same shirt, so don't worry, I'm wearing it for the half year.
九州大学はアジアの玄関口、福岡市にあります。
Yeah, this happens in Fukuoka as well, but let's talk about that later. So let me get to our presentation. So first, I would like to state some facts to put our school into an overall picture. So our school is part of Kyushu University, which is one of the former 7 imperial universities, and it has been here for quite a long time. Actually, we have a 110th anniversary this year. We started as a school of engineering and College of Medicine in Hakozaki campus in the center of this Fukuoka city, where we are located on the Kyushu island on the south of Japan. We are not that far from Beppu, maybe 2-hour ride by train, bus, car. However, since then, since those 100 years, a lot has changed. The university now became an international research institution, which have about 12 graduate schools, 12 undergraduate schools, 21 graduate schools, 16 faculties, and university hospital. We have about 2,000 faculties serving 19,000 students. So our general student ratio is 1 to 10, but actually, in our school, in School of Interdisciplinary Science and Innovation, our ratio is 1 to 7. So 1 teacher for 7 students. The university really is huge, and it's constantly ranked among the 5 top universities in Japan. It's a national university, and that allows us to keep the tuition fees quite low, about $3,000 per semester. And at the same time, we can choose our students. We keep the levels really up, and only the best students of West Japan can join our university, and they have to work hard to go through the admission process, through the entrance exam. So our school is located in the new Ito campus. So this campus started to be developed about 10 years ago, and our school is a quite new undergraduate school. We started 3 years ago, and as you can see on the picture, we are here under the red arrow. So this campus has it's very wide, and it's located very nicely, surrounded by woods and beaches and well, nature in general. But at the same time, we are quite close to the city. But we're going to hear about that more later. But actually, the Ito campus at this point is the most modern campus in Japan, and the largest and most modern campus in Japan. Not only our school is new, but the concept of our school is completely new, and it's different from other schools in Kyushu University or in Japan, or maybe around the world. Our school focuses on the interdisciplinary science and innovation. The question is, what do we mean by that, right? So similarly, what I said in the video, if you consider the important issues of today, like garbage, or at this point, for example, the pandemic, these are huge issues that cannot be dealt with by professionals in a single discipline. You need to find connections between many disciplines. You need to take into account lots of views, and combine them together in a meaningful way so you can suggest solutions which will work and which will also accommodate the needs of the people. Therefore, in Kyoso, which is the Japanese way how we call our school, the School of Interdisciplinary Science and Innovation, we do not focus on a specialized knowledge. We do not train our students in a single specific discipline. What we are training them are skills to be able to bring all those disciplines together. So we train skills like creative task framing, practical teamwork, international communication, and in overall interdisciplinary problem solving skills. We want our students to have the good attitudes and abilities to communicate with scientists or with experts from broad areas and put their opinions and their expertise together in solving these complex issues. To do so, we have created what we call the areas of studies. It's in our ever-changing society, we're trying to create new values and knowledge that goes beyond the standard curriculum and beyond the, let's say, the current situation. So these 4 areas, the main 4 areas are humans and life, where you look at the biological aspects of our lives, people and society. You look at the social view, states and regions, the geopolitical view of things, and earth and environment, let's say an ecological one. Within these areas, you will be trained on all those previous skills that we mentioned before. Let's say they will be more focused within that area group and what is happening there, what is necessary there. Then we have what we call the crossing study areas. For example, that's where I come from, which are the basic subjects, the tools that serve all the other areas. So in my case, that's mathematics, but also we have programming courses or and others. So this leads me to our faculties. So as I already mentioned, our faculty to student ratio is 1:7. And to reach this goal of interdisciplinarity, as you can not see very well from this from this kind of cramped slide, we have faculty members which come from all over different disciplines. Basically, we don't have 2 faculty members from the same specific discipline. And also we have quite a big ratio of foreign faculty staff from all over the world. So before I'm going to finish my part of the presentation and the other Jan is going to guide the rest, so let me just shortly say something about me. So my name is Jan Březina and I'm the associate professor at the Kyushu University. So as I already mentioned, I'm a mathematician, or in particular, I study fluid mechanics. I study the models that describe the behavior of fluids. And here on these pictures, you can see that what is a fluid can be quite a diverse topic. And so I hope that you have enjoyed the presentation so far, that you're not sleeping, and you will enjoy the rest with the other Jan. Thank you.
Well, good evening. I think it must be around 7:30 in the evening for you. It's 12:30, no, 11:30 here. I'm already jumping an hour ahead for lunch. I guess I'm hungry. My name is also Jan, or actually Johan. My name is Johan Jan Lauwerijns. I am a professor in the School of Interdisciplinary Science and Innovation. I also serve as a vice dean for our school, and I have in many ways been very invested in the School of Interdisciplinary Science and Innovation. To some extent, this is really a project that I've been involved in from the beginning at Kyushu University. And I think the best way for me to explain what we are trying to do in the school, which is really a new type of education for Japan, but I think also more generally, more globally. What we are trying to do is given mostly in this notion of interdisciplinary. So we really want to combine the humanities, the social sciences, and the natural sciences. And at the same time, this aspect of innovation. So we're really looking toward making an impact and achieving some real social change and thinking about how we can make new ideas relevant for society. Now, in some sense, when we were looking at starting the school, we started designing it about 6 or 7 years ago. What I personally tried to do was go back to the idea when I was 18 or 19 years old and trying to think like, what kind of school would I have wanted at that time? And so in a sense, reverse engineering what kind of school would be relevant for young people today. Now, my personal interest was in consciousness and understanding who we are, what type of creature a human being is. I was very much interested in movies and also art particularly, and I was particularly interested in the surreal types of the more interesting, strange types of consciousness like dreaming. And so I wanted to understand what that was. I ended up studying psychology, and I did a proper sort of classic study of psychology back in Belgium, because I'm a native Belgian. And later on, realized that psychology as a discipline was not enough, because to really understand consciousness, I had to understand not only the mind, but also the brain. And so I went on to study neuroscience. And I did that in Japan at a medical university, and also in the United States. I did a postdoctoral research stint at the National Institutes of Health, the NIH in Bethesda. And so at that time, I started to shift already from one field to another. I shifted from psychology to neuroscience, and very soon realized that what we were talking about in terms of consciousness, and then so later on, particularly on the topic of decision making, how can we control our emotions in appropriate decision making? When looking at all of that, I realized that it's not just a combination between psychology and neuroscience. It is actually also something very relevant for society. And so it meant that I started profiling, as you can see a little bit from the slide here. I did sort of my sort of core research in the area of cognitive science and cognitive neuroscience, but I also developed a particular interest in combining that with more sort of applied types of thinking and discourse, particularly for bioethics. And so when we talk about bioethics, it's really about how to organize human life and how to aim for well-being in a proper way, aided by science or helped by science, but also looking very much about what is fair and how we can create, proper ethical systems in public health and so on. So, so I'm currently also very interested in sort of aspects of how to deal with pandemic, and so how to organize proper public health, how to see that policy making is done in a proper and fair way. So that's sort of my own profile. And as a researcher, that means that I'm both doing what I would call hardcore cognitive science experiments, doing things like recording brain waves while people do simple decision-making tasks and record eye tracking. But at the same time, sort of try to make whatever we learn from those fields relevant for society. Now, I talked quite a little bit about my own case, but I would say this is exactly a type of approach, a type of mentality that we want to nurture in our students as well. We want our students to be active and creative in thinking across boundaries of disciplines. So that's why this interdisciplinary aspect of our curriculum is really essential. And to be quite honest, there's no other school like that in Japan. We have sort of explicitly put this idea of combining the humanities and the natural sciences as a core aspect of our school. And so in Japanese, that would be bunri yugo. And it's also exactly why we have really very talented Japanese students coming to our school, because they have nowhere else to go. Now, in our curriculum, that means we have designed 4 years so that students can gradually get used to thinking across disciplines. And so the first year is primarily what we call kikan education, but kikan basically means core education, where students get familiarized with basic principles in humanities and natural sciences, as well as start learning how to work in groups. Then we have our common basic subjects and Yanbrezina. I call them Honza because there are too many Yana in our school, where Honza teaches math for our students. We have experiential, collaborative, reflective subjects. The experiential ones are involved with inbound, outbound activities and internships. And maybe here's a good segue into the distinctive features of our school. So we have, as I mentioned already, this curriculum that is very explicit, very active in combining the humanities and sciences. We are actually very much creating a bilingual program. That means for our Japanese students, they come in and maybe are primarily thinking in Japanese, but we tweak them so that they think bilingually. They go through a very intensive English language training so that they can actually achieve, working and participating in English or Japanese English bilingually. The same idea for our international students who come in. Some of them come in with zero Japanese, but they get trained very intensively on the Japanese so that they can really interact with our students. So I would say we don't have a Japanese program, we don't have an English program, we have a very explicit sort of shared program. So the classes in English and Japanese, we're creating a bilingual environment across the board for our school, for our administrators, for our teachers, for our students. We go very much learning beyond the classroom. Actually, overseas experience or internship experience is a required component for our school. Now, obviously, in the current age with the pandemic, we had to be very resourceful and creative as a school, and we have done so by heavily investing in online education. We are now very actively working on things that, such as what we call issue-based collaborative international learning, which is basically creating online workshops with partners overseas, with universities in, Scotland or Thailand or Taiwan and so on. It also means that even in this pandemic age, we are able to move forward. For instance, our most recent cohort of international students that came in actually was able to participate the first half year online if for some reason they would not yet be able to come to Japan. But so we were able to get students to move on with their education despite the coronavirus. And now things are getting much more flexible and we're better at ease with it. I mentioned the collaborative learning. Actually, in Japanese, we call it the Kyōsō Gakubu, and the Kyo part is actually collaborative, the co-creative. So we invest heavily on training people in terms of teamwork and sharing classes. In terms of career path, I should say that we are really training people that can change things. And so both in terms of business, people who can go their own startups or who can think globally and work for a big company. In terms of government, either local or national, or in terms of scientists, if you end up doing a sort of co-creative type of science, what goes across disciplines. Now, I do want to leave a little bit of time for questions, so I think I'm going to have to rush through the last couple of slides. Much has been said already, I think, by Hunza as well. We have this amazing large campus with all the facilities you would wish for. And I would very much say I've been here in Kyushu, at Kyushu University for now 11 years, and I know I'm not going anywhere else because it's just the best place on earth. And I can tell you very straightforwardly, because as a Belgian, I have lived in significant amounts of time in New Zealand. I was 7 years in New Zealand as a professor. I have lived in the United States on 2 occasions, in Washington, DC, and in Michigan. I've also, of course, with my roots in Belgium, I've got a very good idea what you can do in Europe. And I can tell you honestly, even better than Tokyo, here in Kyushu, you're in a place that is perfectly suited in terms of mixture of culture, city life, and nature. Not only have we got this diverse environment in terms of the city, also very much in our university itself. So we have about 20,000 students, which is capped. As a national university, we're an elite university, so we have a very strong cap on the number of students that we take in. And about 10% of those students, actually a bit more, are international students from all over the place. So we actively create this environment. So Fukuoka as a city is consistently ranked as one of the most livable cities in Japan, which makes it by extension one of the most livable cities in the world. Also in terms of expenses, it's one of the least expensive major cities in Japan. We are located at Ito campus at a sort of suitable distance from the city. And now in terms of entrance examinations and international admission, many of the systems are comparable to the 2 previous presentations. But for the exact details, I should refer you to our webpage or allow you to ask questions about that. So I think with that, I'm going to put my mask on and ask Hunza to come sit next to me so that we can go on to the Q&A.
So let us find the questions that are related to.
So maybe one little piece of advice for people putting in questions, it would be good if you just very quickly write something like KU so that we can see which questions are particularly for us. Some questions are, so this the person here asking, are there any age limits to apply for undergraduate or graduate programs? Yes, there are. I think you have to be 18 years old to be able to. So at the moment you start the school, you have to be 18. So, what's that? Skip right? Okay. This one. Oh, okay. Ah, I see. You can skip in some cases.
Yeah, so it's a bit flexible.
Yeah, so I don't know the rules. So I think for those kind of very specific questions, maybe sometimes it's better to contact our administrative offices. So here, hi, is it possible to apply for a scholarship in the language department? We're not the language department, so I can't answer to that. This is about APU, Chukyo. What extracurricular clubs are there? We have an extreme range going from surfing to hunting wild boar to what have we got? I think we've got about everything really. We have more. How many clubs do we have? I think more than 100. The only one that I haven't found yet is one for postage stamp collection. As a child, I was a very eager postage stamp collector, but I don't think we have a club for that. No, basically, there's an extremely wide range. We have just about all sports, including American football, the real football, I mean, not the American one. And Kyushu University, is there any restrictions about program transferences? Yes, so basically it's quite difficult to get credit taken with you at the moment you apply. So basically when you come into the Kyushu University, or actually Kyushu Gakubu, our school, then you start from scratch. There's no option to bring in credits. Now, once you get into Kyushu University, there are cases where a student can transfer from one school to another after the first year, but it requires a fairly extensive administrative process. So it's not easy. It's not entirely impossible, but it's just wiser to try to make sure what program you want to go in from the beginning. So what are the average SAT scores and GPA for the students who got in Kyushu University? So that actually varies year to year, and we're not able to we actually don't have that data available. So I would say, first of all, the SAT score is not the one feature that decides whether we are able to take you in or not. So it's one factor in sort of a comprehensive evaluation. And each year we basically have very different cohorts, and gradually we're getting more and more applications because the school is getting better known. So we are basically looking for students who are either got a very unique profile or are very good all-rounders, showing very interesting extra curricular activities and things like that. So it is not a simple answer to that. So we have a question here. Do you have kinesiology or life science related courses? Yes, we do. And so in the humans and life region, we have one of the teachers, Sur Sensei. He's basically a physiologist. And so he's interested in stress physiology. So that gets to the life science component. Now, there are also people doing more molecular biology, and conversely, people like me who take it rather towards, thank you. So I have here Sur Sensei, he's a stress physiology and metabolism. So we have other professors who do developmental biology and so on. So you could take, the life sciences is definitely sort of represented in our program. The kinesiology specifically, not. However, we have a flexible program so that particularly towards your graduation, you will be involved, you will work out something we call a degree project. And for the degree project, we require students to do their own research and sort of develop a project or a bit of expertise in a topic of their choosing. And for that, it is possible to work with a teacher outside the main core of 51 teachers that we have. And so, for instance, I work together with a teacher or researcher, Kishimoto Sensei, who doesn't belong to our school, but who is interested in frailty for aging, in terms of aging. So he's looking at how elderly people can remain active and healthy and very much physically healthy. And so that is actually getting towards the kinesiology. So, so somebody is interested in kinesiology could come to Kyushu Gakubu, come to our school and eventually work with Kishimoto Sensei or get advice from Kishimoto Sensei on how to develop into kinesiology. And so this is something we can say more generally for our school, is that the concept is really that we start out with almost like a liberal arts kind of very wide perspective where students get trained on basic concepts in humanities, social sciences, the natural sciences, and then gradually can develop their own interests. And given that there is this flexibility built in the program, there's a possibility to go overseas to work with a specialist in a particular area or to develop that expertise during your degree project by working with people who can connect to some of the things that we are doing at the school. So we're, as teachers, we're all equipped to basically think collaboratively. So in terms of degree project, for instance, we always work with two advisors. There's always the main advisor and the secondary advisor. So it's always team-based.
Yeah, let me maybe stress this thing that it's really great if you already have an idea on a specific field that you're interested in, but somehow the students we are interested in are those who would like to combine at least two different fields, that they kind of see that there is a knowledge that they need from different areas of expertise, and that they can combine it here. For if you really are into a specialized study, like I want to study something in the sort of engineering related, then that's not the idea of our school. And also we expect the students you should be let's say happy or enjoying in not only the collaboration but in the discussion. So we have lots of classes we have this issue based, and there is the group or teamwork. So definitely you should be fond of doing that.
Okay, we have a question here. It says, it appears that you are an extension of Kyushu University. So yes, we belong to Kyushu University. And so from looking at the top computer science rankings in Japan, it shows Kyushu University in the top 10. Yes, generally we're in just about any field, we're a comprehensive university, we're always in the top 10. So do you have the same program and same quality of classes, maybe taught in English, any discrepancies? So basically, at our school, we have, at Kyushu University, we have two undergraduate programs that are completely in English. So one is for engineering, one is for bioresource or agriculture. These are completely in English, which means that as an international student, you study with other international students completely in English. And so for somebody specifically interested in computer science, the engineering direction might be an option, although it is completely English. If you're rather interested in really integrating in Japanese society and becoming a bilingual, then I think the School of Interdisciplinary Science and Innovation is the suitable place. And we have computer scientists in our school. So we have people like Konomi Sensei, Okada Sensei, Konomi Sensei, and other sort of extra teachers such as Uchida Sensei, Hirose Sensei, who are computer scientists and who actually teach across programs in engineering and the School of Interdisciplinary Science and Innovation. In terms of quality control, I can guarantee you, as a Kyushu University, as a national university, as an elite university, it is not an option to be anything less than excellent. So yes, we guarantee that you get the same quality across programs.
I think we are out of time.
Okay, it's 12 o'clock. Now, if any of this sounded remotely interesting, please do contact us. We're here for you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yan and Dr. Yan. It was a wonderful presentation. This concludes tonight's seminar. Thank you very much to all the students and parents who participated in today's session. After the session, we would like to ask you to fill out a short questionnaire, which will only take about a minute to complete. You can also apply for individual consultations with the universities that participated in today's briefing here. The next seminar will be held on June 2nd for Soka University and Sophia University. We hope to see you there. Professors and special guests tonight, thank you so much for such wonderful presentations. And students and parents, thank you so much for attending tonight. We hope to see you in our next seminar. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.